Single moment of misunderstanding is so poisonous that it makes us forget the hundred of lovable moments spent together. Everyone has encountered situations like this, either with a colleague, a friend, or a family member. Regardless, it always hurts. Misunderstandings are most often caused by communication barriers and stem from different upbringing and cultures. But a lot of people won't get a chance to be a stranger in a strange land or experience what it feels like to be unable to make yourself understood. By dropping you into a world where communication is wildlife, everyone will be forced in the same boat of not knowing how to express themselves, regardless of their origin or language they speak. To tackle this sensitive topic, we came up with Soundbender.
Hello? Anybody out there? Kind of like lighting everything up with my voice, right? So cool. That's awesome. I'll sing a Danish song. Say den lille kattekillinger og en sød.
Like you chasing things.
Yeah, riding with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going around. It's awesome. Way!
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Go. Ooh, that's good. I like that. Satisfying.
Go, my noble steed, forward. I implore you.
That's really beautiful. Oh, he's watching you. That's creepy.
What are we doing?
Okay.
Get on. Oh, it is not okay. It was really cool. I'm definitely not the best singer in the world, but even so, the movements with the shaping of the stuff and throwing it off, I thought was super cool. The visuals are really nice. It's got a real distinct style to it. Kind of like really relaxing and zen, surprisingly. The puzzle stuff was fun. The shaping, like it all moved together really nicely, and it felt fun.
It's really interesting. I've not really done anything like it before. The colors were awesome. Everything looked really great. Whistling is something I do quite a lot, so it kind of felt natural to me, I think. It's pretty confronting, actually. It's like you can't really tell what's going on. You've got to figure out how to make everything work. It was a bit scary, like just a bit, not too scary. It made me feel pretty happy. I really enjoyed it, so I would happily play hours of that, I think. So it invoked some good feelings for me.
First of all, we wanted to give the player means to communicate, so we've come up with a new universal language. We call it sound light. The idea starts simple. The player would be able to emit light with their voice, and its color would be mapped to a specific pitch. Sound light. Then we wanted to make the tools to manipulate sound light into different shapes. Hence we created two sound light devices. The gloves, which allow the player to record their voice, generating its visualization in the form of a glowing orb, and then process that into a shape by applying a specific sound filter that changes the attitude of their interactions. Some shapes and filters would make the meaning more friendly, while others make it more straightforward or even aggressive. Though this seems simple, this language provides enough means to communicate. The only question left is who or what do we communicate with?
In Soundbender, there are gonna be inhabitants with whom you will have to learn to communicate with in order to progress on your quest. The communication is going to be represented by you emitting light and the inhabitants' reactions to the color and shape of your light, based on formalized theories. The creature language is going to be based on the color theory, representing cultural differences and biases. The shape theory is going to represent inhabitants' attitudes. Some creatures will understand assertive attitude better, and others will prefer a softer and tactful approach if you want them to cooperate. The reactions are either understood or misunderstood. The idea behind learning to communicate is to learn to read between lines. By observing surroundings, inhabitants' behaviors, languages, biases and attitudes, which are represented by colors and shapes of light, and earn their trust by acting accordingly. Which leads into a set of environmental and behavioral clues that, in conjunction, will give you the key to successful communication. Puzzle elements make the interactions challenging, the same as real life when trying to find proper words to achieve a specific goal.
The third pillar of Soundbender is communication metaphors. Just to name some of the environmental puzzle sets we would like to build, such as Yin Yang Glacier of Balance, Disagreement Clock, Shell of Blinding Defensiveness, or the one we've seen in the teaser, which was Broken Bridge of Communications, with two monkeys sitting on opposite sides of the bridge, where you have to find a way to solve their argument and fix the bridge before you're able to cross it. The metaphors add a flavor of adventure and exploration to Soundbender. To provide a more immersive experience for the player, we really wanted to find a suitable means for navigation in VR. As a result, we've come up with another metaphor of being in the same boat. The turtle boat is also powered by Soundlight and allows players to freely navigate through the underground river networks.
The art style wasn't picked randomly as well. As you probably noticed by now, all the creatures and environment sets are wooden mechanisms, which were inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's era and his creations. Da Vinci was well ahead of his time, and many of his inventions were disregarded. Now, imagine an underground master's workshop, full of his greatest inventions that were kept away from mankind for fear of being misunderstood. And before he died, the last one he built was the Lighthouse of Hope, that enabled him to beam his energy out in order to bring his beloved creations, that understood him best, to life. As far as our experience uses light for communication, we look to deep-sea creatures and mixed Da Vinci's mechanisms with bioluminescence, bringing a truly surreal feel to the experience, making the player a stranger in a strange land.
What we really want to achieve with Soundbender is to tell a profound story of humanity that would touch people's hearts without saying a word. To implicitly show that most of communication's problems could be avoided if only we would try a little harder to understand each other. Dropping people into the dark and magical land of childish wonder with a feeling of deep-sea exploration, then easing them into a mischievous and troublesome land of miscommunication, and then making them feel all the dreads of disagreements and misunderstandings, with the Lighthouse of Hope showing them the way out.
We would like to leave the player with a sour taste of wonder about all just happened to them. Every metaphor, every piece of art, and every sound and melody will be carefully designed and crafted to make the player feel the journey with their hearts rather than understand it with their minds.
The uniqueness of Soundbender is coming from a beautiful mix of all the aspects. First, using your voice as a source of communication, but then still transforming it into a musical language of soundlight. Ability to record, process, and visualize your voice. Just hearing yourself back with different sound filters applied makes it so much fun to play. The richness of sounds and music that tell the story of miscommunications, creating proper mood and feel of the experience. The challenging puzzles that express the struggles of communication. The journey through an art gallery full of metaphors of the master who is non-disclosing his creations for fear of being misunderstood. So many people can relate to this, especially artists. The organic blend between nature and wooden mechanism, and the passionate team that believes that Soundbender can become something special. All these aspects create a unique, unified, and rich experience.
Soundbender's hidden metaphors are meant to inspire people to think about common communication problems and their possible solutions, to make us be more aware of our surroundings, our differences and values, and encourage us to go an extra mile to understand each other, to make the world a better place. During one of our presentations, we were approached by researchers that were working with kids who had speech problems. We were told that Soundbender is something they've wanted for a long time, something that gives them quick visual feedback to people who struggle to hear their own voice or have no hearing at all. It makes us think, can Soundbender actually help people? not only in a psychological and a spiritual way, but also in a physical way. Though less common, speech and hearing problems are just another type of a communication barrier, another group of people who speak a different language from us. And Soundbender makes us all equal, placing us all in the same boat. Thought feels inspiring for us and is definitely something worth deeper research and keeping in mind. And if it does help a more diverse community and make their lives better after all, it would make Soundbender even more valuable.
A lot of people watching Soundbender demo on the screen don't really realize that it's totally different in VR. You cannot feel losing sense of direction in darkness by watching it on the screen. But in VR, you're truly there, all alone, lost, and a bit hesitant to move because you don't know what's really hidden behind the curtains of darkness. When you see the music box flying over your head for the first time, you realize how impressive it feels to be able to relate yourself in space to the objects and creatures around you. Or when you approach the monkeys, you can understand how giant they really are. Can you imagine yourself standing next to a transformer like Optimus Prime and try to talk to him? Or mechanical jellyfishes swarming around you, attracted by sunlight, and you can reach them with your hands. The overwhelming feeling you get just by being there for so long. We cannot imagine Soundbender being possible without VR at all.
The video capture you've seen on the screen actually comes from a 30-minute playable demo put together by a handful of talented students from the UTS Animalogic Academy in Sydney, Australia, mentored by a couple of VFX professionals within a period of 6 months. The demo includes implemented mechanics of sound light generation and manipulation, complete 15-minute tutorial that teaches all the mechanics by interacting with 2 characters, and the main broken bridge of communication metaphor with animated monkeys, the bridge, and puzzle mechanisms. Even though it's still got plenty of room for improvement, it's working and it's been tested by many people giving their wows and positive feedback. How have we achieved it? We've done it by having a passionate team and using modern workflows and technology like procedural modeling and instancing with Houdini to Unreal, using scalable substance procedural texturing techniques, and other pipeline tools that sped up our production and improved our productivity. It's worth mentioning that we had little to no experience with real-time, so we had to learn and adapt rapidly, which hopefully shows the capabilities and flexibilities of our team. To make the mechanics work, we had to do quite a bit of technical R&D with procedural real-time sound processing and sound visualization using the early access Unreal technology. We hit many walls, but we were still able to solve the problems and deliver the working demo, which made it evident that difficulties are not going to stop us making what we have in our mind. Even though we're proud of our progress, think of what we could achieve with your support. What we actually want to build is a 2 to 3 hour long adventure puzzle game that walks the user through 3 levels of communication difficulty: wonder, mischief, and misunderstanding. Having 2 minor and 1 major metaphor set in each with a minimum of 3 characters per level with different interactive possibilities. The levels are small cave river networks to explore with a major metaphor representing gates to the next level, similar to the broken bridge of communication. We'd like to add extra platforming and adventure game mechanics and extend the range of available soundlight manipulation abilities. The full breakdown can be arranged upon request. And lastly, communication without other people doesn't really make much sense. So we want the user to be able to meet another player on another boat on their journey, and they would be able to travel and solve puzzles in cooperative multiplayer, communicating with the soundlight alone.
Currently, we are seeking financial support to be able to give Soundbender the attention it deserves and to develop it into something special we believe it can become. With emerging immersive technologies and constantly growing interest towards them, with millions of VR headsets sold already, we have an opportunity to compete in a not yet oversaturated market. By setting a goal to have a high quality game before anything else, we believe to become competitive enough to be able to pay the investments back and to secure funds for our next game project. Our dream is to be able to create fun and remarkable games that will touch people's hearts. If you are interested in supporting us and our dream, or have any other further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.
They do really. They have to. It's law,
Is it now?
I think.
Alright.
You have to warn people.
I'm gonna go down.
Further down.
By line.
Right. Dominant.
No, just now we're good. You. Alright.
Okay. Soundbender.
Yeah.
Oh wow! How cool was that?
was pretty cool. It was a edgy, kind of different, unique take on stuff, which I quite enjoyed being part of. It was fun trying to steer it into a thing that we think people would enjoy. I think there was always a really sort of strong vision at the end, and was always that sort of balance of trying to get it doable within the time we had and the resources we had.
And it's the right team as well.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Like the right creatives, the right technicals, people who were ambitious as well and didn't want to give up.
Yeah.
And they pushed each other. And I think what we saw was that we called them Rebel Base, right? Because they had Ilya. Right. but that aside, like, you know, most of our students were focusing on finishing the Color Thief, finishing Explorer, or getting that off the ground, and then we had a little skeleton crew of like 4 or 5 artists max on Soundbender, and they really kind of just took the challenge, and from what I heard from the students, that was their favorite project to work on because they were a bit more free as well.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I was amazed by in the end was it was such a technically ambitious goal, let alone a kind of storytelling goal. And I thought, surely they're going to have to fake the audio interactive side, and surely they're going to have to fake some of the more complex interaction stuff, but it all worked, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool.